Welcome to the Horror and Gore Horror Movie Podcast. Today, guys, we are on episode 20, so we're on the big 2-0 right now. But I'm always here with my best friends and co-hosts, Lyndsey and Goobs. What's up, guys? How are you doing? Goobs, you can go first.
I'm good, man. It's a good week, good night. Ready.
What about you, Lyndsey?
I'm not going to lie to you. I have had a very rough week, but I am super excited to be here with both of you and talk about some movies because this is the episode that I've been wanting to make since I joined the podcast. So tonight's my night.
Let's go. So let's get right into it. What we have watched this week. Lyndsey, I'll let you go first.
um, what I have watched is, well, I'm going to start with what I crocheted this week. What I crocheted this week, I made two characters that I've wanted to make for a very long time, quite possibly my favorite couple of all time. If you're watching the video, you can see them behind me. I finally made Frankenstein's monster and his bride. They are available now in my Etsy shop. They're both 18 inches, very cute, adorable, cuddly. You need them, so you should order them. Um, as far as my watches, I watched a lot of I was all over the place with documentaries, so I'll save you from listing all of those. But one I want to mention, it was so wild. You can find it on Max. It's called Six Schizophrenic Brothers. It's a family of 12 siblings. Six of them are diagnosed, but everyone is affected. There's murder, there's every type of abuse that you can imagine. Like, this is a wild series. And I mean, I was texting everybody in the middle of the night when I finished it, like, you need to watch this immediately. So, highly, highly recommend that. Movie wise, I did a lot of rewatches. I watched, but my first time watches, I watched Ghoul, which is like a supernatural horror about cannibals. It was interesting. I watched Frankenhooker. I watched Zombievers. Shout out Goobs. That was one of his first recommendations to me, and I finally watched
Gang,
it.
gang.
I want to say if I ever had like a house, a creepy old house in a horror movie, I would definitely have a zombiever live under my porch to like scare people away. For sure. Um, I watched Malevolent and then I watched The Menu finally. It had been on my list for a very long time. And I loved that. That was wild. So that's my watches and my makes of the week. Oh, and over the weekend, I hung out with my nieces. My two little besties came over and we watched Hotel Transylvania. So
Ooh,
Yeah.
let's go. So, Goobs, what about you?
So today I watched a found footage movie called Solvent. Now, it doesn't have a release date yet. However, put it on your radar because that movie is absolute insanity toward the end of it. So keep that on your radar. I also watched another found footage film called Leech, and that was absolutely chaotic and nasty, but great. Follows like a YouTuber who will kind of do anything for views, and he doesn't take any shit from anybody. That's another one that you guys need to keep on your radar. Hopefully, it gets a release date. I also watched. This was a rewatch of The Sacrament, actually written and directed by Ty West and presented by Eli Roth. Kind of like a cult Jamestown massacre type influence movie, but definitely don't want to drink the Kool-Aid at that party. Uh,
If
and
you're not
then
drinking
just
Kool-Aid,
don't drink it.
don't drink
Um, I I rewatched Paul, which is one of my favorite sci-fi comedies with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Also, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but Dream Eater. It's another found footage film that's coming out. Should be on Halloween this year,
nice.
but that is such a banger of a movie. that everybody needs to check out when it gets here. It deals with a couple. They go on a vacation for his 30th birthday. He suffers from para-insomnia, so it deals with a lot of, when he's sleeping, he deals with a lot of different things that he doesn't even notice. And by the end of it, you're not only terrified, but you're emotional for these two characters because they're just so fucking good in this movie. And there's a fucking crawl space scene that is legitimately nightmare fuel. So that's what I watched this week.
I'm pretty excited about that one.
You said that's Dream Eater, right?
Yes.
2 videos I saw. Chuck's, Colby's. Chuck's, the editing of the guy screaming, already scared the shit out of me. The clip that Colby posted with it was even worse. So I got that one. I got Leech, and what was the other? There's another one. I still got my email box for the screeners for the film festival. I wish the 2 I wish I got screeners for, but I ran out of time before the festival ended. Was Solvent and Tinsman Road.
Yeah.
I wish I got screeners for both of those. But I would definitely be checking out Dream Eater and then Leech because I'm excited for like both of those. But Dream Eater, like after watching one that I'll be mentioning, I'm definitely excited to watch that. But for my watches this week, I watched some. I'm gonna start off the 2 from the festival that I watched this week, and that's The Lost Episode. If you like cops, you guys go love this one. This is cops mixed with horror, creepy ass shit. Then what happened to Dorothy Bell? The most terrifying fucking shit I have ever seen in my life. Goops mentioned this last week.
Goose is like, told you.
Yeah.
When I listened to the episode that you did with Colby and Ian, and Colby said he watched it in the theater, I'm like, bro, watching this in the theater, I don't know what a theater is, but theater had been the most terrifying shit possible. Especially with one scene. I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil the movie.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Oh, because fuck.
Does it change your opinion on old people yet?
I kind of already thought old people were that way, but it's just like...
It solidified it that old people are terrifying.
I love old people.
You won't after this one.
Like Ian said, that woman's a savage. Then I rewatched Top Gun Maverick because I had to just experience that again. Glenn Powell, Tom Cruise. That cast is actually stacked. If you take like Tom Cruise out and look at the rest of the cast, that cast has a lot of well-known actors. It has Miles Teller, Glenn Powell, Danny Ramirez, Melissa, I think Bonet. No, maybe not that. Oh, it's the one. Have you seen Goobs? You mean you were talking about Completely Unknown?
I haven't watched it yet, but
the main female actress in that, not Elle Fanning, but the other one, she's in Top Gun, and Lewis Pullman. If you seen Riff Raff, he's in that.
Yeah,
he's also in that. This cast was like a bunch of like, besides Miles Teller, a lot of like unknown actors at the time, but now they're like one of the biggest crew right now. But then after that, I watched Death of the Unicorn. I enjoyed it.
Were the unicorns cool?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Okay.
The look of them, the first one they looked, I'm like, oh, because you can tell. But then by the end, it's like, okay, they got working on it. It actually looks good.
That was literally the only positive thing Chuck said about it. Was like, I said, were the unicorns cool? And he was like, they looked kind of cool.
One thing I agree with him on is Jenna Ortega. She needs to be casted as a teenage train wreck.
Yes.
Yeah.
Will Poulter's funny as fuck in this though. Yes,
dude, it's hard to believe that he went from the kid from We're the Millers to where he's at now. He's a good ass actor.
Mm-hmm.
He's in this. He's gonna be in Warfare. He's Adam Warlock.
Yeah, and he was also in season 3 of The Bear on FX. I don't know if anybody's seen that. It's
I've
a
heard of
great
it.
show, but he was also in that. And like I said, he's a great actor. It's crazy.
You
And
know,
I had no idea he was British.
he's on what's the TV show on Netflix? The horror TV show. It's British. There's a season coming out next month or this month now.
Uh, Black Mirror.
Yes, he's on Black Mirror Bandersnatch.
Thanks, Lyndsey. No, I'm just kidding. We figured it out.
He's on that, which I didn't even know he was on that. A really good actor, though. I'm excited to see where he goes, especially not only where Warfare's coming out, but his role in the MCU. But then after I watched The Working Man with Jason Statham. Fuck yeah. This movie. I like this movie a lot. I know a lot of people didn't like this movie. I don't know. I like Jason Statham kicking some ass.
Oh yeah.
That's all I wanted, and it's really brutal too. Then after that, I decided to go into some older horror movies to expand my knowledge in this. So I watched The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of The Creature Walks Among Us, Frankenstein, The Mummy, The Wolfman, The Invisible Man, and Dracula. So I got a lot of those knocked out. I'm going to try to still get a lot of those knocked out. Try to build up that.
Dakota.
Yeah.
You're a cultured gentleman now. Like, you've watched the classics.
And this is going back to Horror and Gore, but House of Ghouls. Ian, I am going to get into more extreme horror. I'm going to get into more horror watching movies. I listened to the episode today. Yes, I'll be getting more into that stuff. I thought of a whole bunch of movies, extreme horror, zombie. I broke down genres, and I wanted to get into more. I want to get into more horror movies from certain years because I looked at the categories, and 2001 is fucking bare. You want to know what my 2001 only horror movie is?
What?
It's Jeepers Creepers.
Oh.
And that's not good right now with Victor Salva being a fucking terrible human being.
Yeah.
Yuck.
But besides that, let's get into some happier things. Have we done anything big this week?
I'll start.
You can start news. Yeah, you can start news.
I'll start. Nothing super big. Continued the coverage for the Unnamed Footage Festival. It wrapped up this weekend. So a lot of the found footage films that I watched were because of that. Super thankful and appreciative for everybody that has helped me out along the way, given me confidence, given me tips and tricks. Colby helping me with the application. Love you. And then I wanted to bring a different segment real quick here. We want to go over the beverage of the podcast.
Oh.
And I am drinking a 0 sugar squirt.
Squirt.
What the fuck? You got explained right now.
Time out. Did Goobs, Goobs, did you start this segment just so you could say the word squirt on the podcast?
100%.
Yes. Best friend. That's my best friend.
First of all,
100%.
before we get to being Lyndsey's, what the fuck is a squirt?
Well,
a squirt could be many
question.
things.
No, when you drank it, you drank
But
it.
in this instance, it is a grapefruit soda. So,
damn, I ain't even heard of that.
It's usually citrus.
Oh,
they
dude.
have like a lemon one. There's orange, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
kind of
one of
like
them made like Fanta, or have you ever heard of Fresca?
Fanta. Fuck
It's
no.
yeah, it's just another citrus soda. It's caffeine
Yeah.
free and it's late. Can't be having a bunch of caffeine, Lindsay.
It's late and I'm having caffeine. I have coffee with brown sugar in it,
Wait,
and
is that the little mug from
it's
Beauty and the
Chip
Beast?
from Beauty and the Beast. Of course it
Yeah, I
is.
thought it was.
I am Belle. Um, and then I have raspberry lemonade
And
because I have to have more than one beverage.
then for me, I got Diet Mountain Dew.
I'm all hopped up
So
on Mountain Dew. I'm sorry, I had to.
there we go. um, I don't know where we won't go. I was going with. Oh yeah. So Goobs, Goobs, it was your. You explained to everybody what you done this week. But Lindsay, have you done anything big this week?
I did a lot of crocheting this week. That was really my big thing. Had a lot of personal stuff going on, but nothing crazy, nothing exciting. What did you do this week, Dakota?
By the way, before that, sorry guys for all the stuttering. We're just getting really unhinged right now. But for me, mostly nothing. Just work. Went to the theaters twice this week, of course.
Busy man.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of movie watching. Listen to the House of Ghouls podcast. Um,
Shout out.
Shout out.
That's the only
No,
one.
no.
That's like their fourth one.
I love that. It's your only one.
We love you.
But besides that, let's get right into our movie news for this week. So, first off, I already talked to Goobs and Lindsay. They haven't seen the Final Destination trailer,
Mm-mm.
but I have. So,
But
this
do it.
trailer really, really good. It's really good. Even though I've seen the first two, it's really good. The more I think about it, the more I've seen breaking down. There is the accident. This is my theory. I'm going off of theory right now. The accident that happened, which all the rumors are true about the accident, or no, or like the premonition. It's not accident, but like the premonition. I think all of the other five movies are going to be connected to this in a certain way, and it's going to be good because of that premonition. Which I hope it's not the last one, but it kind of sounds like the way they're doing this, it could be, which it kind of will make me a little bit mad that this is my first Final Destination I get to see in theaters, and it could be the last. They show Tony Todd in this. That it's sad. That
Yeah.
actually made me sad seeing that. Did you see that image before they released the trailer, Goose?
Yeah, I saw the image and it just broke my heart. You just can tell that that he was just not good.
He
So
wanted to do this movie
I was gonna say at
at
least
that
there's a
time.
little peace in knowing like maybe he didn't look his best, but like he was doing something that he loved, and
oh,
we
well,
we all get to
definitely.
enjoy that. So that's pretty special.
Because
Yeah.
even though he was diagnosed with his illness, when he found that out and when he knew he had it and knew that there was a new Final Destination movie and that they were filming it that summer or that around that time, he told his doctors and stuff, I need everything so I could be in this movie. I've
Hmm.
been in this franchise. This is one of the franchises I'm well known for. They're coming back after was it 14 years now, and I need to be in this movie. So
Yeah.
I'm glad they did. I think I wonder if they showed him the script and showed him that because I heard that his character gets a lot of screen time and he's in the story in this. So I'm wondering if
Mm.
he saw that and he's like, I gotta get on this movie, which it's his. I think it's his last screen appearance, which, like I said, it's gonna be very sad. Um, Besides that, very brutal. This movie's gonna be very brutal. I already know what it's going to be. Um, When it says film for IMAX, you could definitely tell. I could
Nice.
tell that this is going to be the best looking thing on IMAX, besides, of course, Sinners, because Ryan Coogler filmed that thing on IMAX camera. But really excited for this. But then for our next trailer. So we got 2 trailers this week. We technically got 3, but I want to talk about only 2 of them. Our second trailer is Clown in the Cornfield, which, Goops, you've seen that, right? Lyndsey, have you seen it?
I have been scrolling and watched parts of it, but I have not watched the entire trailer. But I'm very excited about it.
Goops, what's your
Yeah.
thoughts on this trailer?
From what I've seen, I feel like they are definitely going page to screen. Like the scene in the trailer in the cornfield, Friendo coming out in it's very accurate to the book description of that particular scene that they show in the trailer. So if the trailer is that accurate, I'm excited to see how much the other parts are as accurate. I haven't finished the whole book yet, but pretty much what I've seen in the trailer, I've read in the book. So I'm super excited.
Wait, have you got further along in the book since we last time done? Oh no! Oh,
I'm a little further along, where I think I'm getting toward what you're speaking about, but I don't want to say yes and then there be something else.
Yeah, let's just
But I'm
not talk
excited.
about it. So
Yeah,
can't wait
but
for the.
it's gonna be such a good one.
yeah.
As you guys know, I'm the resident Clown, the Cornfield fan here, right here. This trailer, fucking awesome. It's so awesome. It feels like Goop said screen. I mean, page to screen. Or some things. There's some things I'm like, oh, did they change up? But it don't bother me if they did. Looks brutal as fuck.
Yeah,
Like, looks a lot more brutal than I thought it was going to be. I think this cast is going to do great. Like, a lot of our people at South by Southwest said they already have. But I'm so excited for this movie. May 9th needs to come right now so I could be sitting my ass in the theater enjoying this movie.
oh yeah, it's an opening day movie for sure.
Yes.
Can I say something else?
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
started crocheting a friendo.
Fuck yeah. But then,
So sick.
speaking of Shudder releases to theaters, our next piece of news is Hell House LLC Lineage is getting a summer theatrical release date, with Shudder being that release date being in the fall. So, how do you guys feel about that? We're actually getting this movie released in theaters instead in the fall, in the summertime. Goobs, you can go first.
I'm excited. I love that franchise so much. I am, like I said before, I'm excited to see where they're going to go with it being your traditional movie and not found footage. I
Mhm.
feel like it'll fit the theater experience more for a lot of people that aren't necessarily found footage fans. But for this particular film that is a Shutter, it's going to be just done on Shutter, but it's a terror film, which always supports independent horror and independent directors and movies. To have them have such a big release like this in theaters is pretty freaking epic. So it's a big deal for an independent horror franchise and company. So I'm excited on multiple levels.
What about
I
you,
could
Lindsay?
mimic all of that, saying that I love Hell House, so I'm very excited to sit in a theater and enjoy a Hell House movie. So
I'm
it's gonna be good.
Even though I haven't watched the franchise, I'm excited for this because one, it's their first ever theatrical release. Like Goop said, it's not your found footage, so Oh, I know it's going along with the others, especially Carmichael Manor. Seems like. Do you think it will go like full in because where they're not doing it found footage anymore, or just have little snippets from the other movies?
Well, they're all not necessarily directly connected. They're all just kind of in the same universe. So I think that will be fine.
Yeah, and I know that they are like in the still shots that they had. You have Carmichael sitting in the
Mhm.
fucking chair. They're outside of and they're bringing back. Oh, I can't remember the character from which one, but they're bringing back one from the previous film. I think it might be Carmichael Manor, but they're bringing them another character back. So everything's I'm pretty sure gonna tie in very well.
Yeah.
Will they implement any of the found footage aspects? Probably not, because I think they're going full
Yeah.
traditional, and with Stephen Cognetti doing it, I mean, I think he'll be able to pull it off.
There could be a chance that, like, in the movie, there's a group of people that are making a movie. Like, I feel like they could, like, do, like, a little love letter to it in some way, but I don't know. It'll be good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got not new trailer, but a new poster, a first ever poster for I Know What You Did Last Summer. This is their requel with their, I think it's going along with the first one, not the first two. I love this poster. It's bloody. That bloody ass hook.
Yeah, I saw the poster and I got excited because you never know what it's going to be when they bring back these like legacy sequels and these type of movies. But like I said, that the original one was a part of growing up and me becoming a horror fan within that mid to late 90s wave that you got. But I love the first one. Second one is still okay in my book. But I'm ready for this one. And you got Jennifer Love Hewitt and Freddie Prinze Jr. coming back. So I think it's going to be cool.
Lyndsey, you got any thoughts about this?
I'll go see it, but I'm not, like, tied to the franchise or anything. So no real feelings.
Okay. Then we got the new shark movie called Shiver being released July 3rd of 2026, which is next year. No premise about the movie. It's just the shark movie that's releasing on the 4th of July, which it's got to be fucking scary if they're releasing on the 4th of July where everyone goes to the beach.
Summer.
Right.
Then,
is that this year or next year?
It's next year.
Next year.
Then for our next piece of news, oh fuck, Strangers Chapter 2. Yeah, that's a movie. It's getting a release date of September 26th of this year. I got beef with this. First of all, this movie, the predecessor fucking sucks. Then they replace Saw 11. What the actual fuck? Like, oh. Goops, you can take on this one. What's your thoughts?
So my thoughts is that for whatever reason they're trying to push this Strangers trilogy, which the first original Strangers was just so good in my opinion. And the sequel, shout out to I think to the sequel as well. Pretty underrated, but this new trilogy, absolute ass. Like the first one wasn't good. I didn't find any redeeming qualities. I'm not looking forward to it. I mean, if the bar was set at the first one, then we shouldn't have to look too high for it to get any better. But it's yeah, it's a movie.
I didn't see the first one theaters. Am I going to see this one? Probably so. I'm gonna be paying Lionsgate the fucking money to go see it. The only thing that kind of intrigues me is that they did go back and do reshoots for part two and part three because
Yeah.
they did hear what people said about the chapter one, but like I heard a lot of people say chapter one is a remake of the original. Chapter two and three is a new story. So it's intriguing to go. And plus, I heard they also redone chapter two because the four people that were under the mask, like you know how there's three, the fourth one, they all got leaked
Yeah.
of who they were actually were. So they
Oh,
had to go redo that also. So I don't know what they're going to do. But Lindsay, have you seen chapter one?
I haven't.
Good. Yeah, don't watch it.
It's one that you guys have all said just don't bother with, so it's not on my list.
yeah.
Then for our second to last piece of news, Cillian Murphy confirms that he will actually return the 28 years later trilogy, which this was a rumor, and this was just dropped a couple hours ago at CinemaCon. So Sony was the first studio to do it for this week's event. So excited that he's coming back. Which I haven't seen the other, like the first one. Who's in the first one? I haven't seen either one, but I like Cillian Murphy. Great in
I do too.
Oppenheimer. Great in the
Tommy
Dark Knight
Shelby,
trilogy.
Yeah.
I need to watch Peaky Blinders, so that's the
so
ones I need
fucking
to watch.
good.
Then the last piece of news, which I'm kind of happy about this, Saw 11 might actually still be happening.
So you're saying there's a chance?
There actually might be a chance. So after Strangers Chapter 2 was put in the date, I went to the Instagram. I done my research. Um, all it says is tricycle squeak
Yeah.
for the release date. But then there was a cryptic message. First of all, Billy got a LinkedIn page and said he's employed, that he's a life coach for Lionsgate. Absolutely just incredible that he's a life coach.
That's funny.
Then he also said there was a message announced by Billy himself, Billy the puppet, that all these rumors that we've been hearing, not true. That he's not dead. That he's still around. So I'm thinking that they still have 11 in their mind, or they want to sell the rights off, which I heard that they did have a, kind of like a deal going on with Blumhouse and it fell through. Which, first of all, if I see the drop trailer one more fucking time in theaters, I am going to lose my fucking shit. I
Keep
was
going
looking
to the
forward to that
movies.
movie. I was looking forward to that movie. Hell no, not now. That trailer's getting on my fucking nerves.
I feel like everybody, or not everybody, but some people that we know gave a thumbs down to that movie. So
That and plus, I think Woman in the Yard didn't help that movie
Yeah.
probably after all that reception of this week. Then, but that is it. Oh wait, before we go in the movie news, what's your guys' thoughts about Saul of might be happen?
I have no thoughts about it, but I am so excited for you, Dakota.
What about you, Goops?
I mean, I'll check it out for sure. Like I said, I thought Saw 10 was good, and I'm wondering how they're going to continue it to go or continue the story. And we'll just see. But I'll be seeing it.
Fuck yeah. So let's get into our main topic of the episode. Lindsay, I'll let you open because this is your episode. This is your topic.
Okay, so I'm going to bring it back to we were hanging out on the live one night, and it was me, Ian, Colby, and Dakota. Dakota left us to go to bed, and Colby casually mentioned, Lindsay, you should just be Dakota's co host on his podcast. And I was like, I would do it. And in my mind, in that moment, I thought the only episode I'm ever going to have anything to say about is if we talk about Universal's movie monsters. That's the only episode. And here I am. Like, I've like fully immersed myself in all of this and like watched all of these movies. So This week we are talking about the original movie monsters, and I myself am going to be talking about Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. Do you want me to just like go into that, or do you guys want to talk about which ones you're gonna cover?
We can go into talk about what we watch, but I love that this is Lindsay's 10th episode on here, and she finally got her episode. It took
Finally, it only took me
it
10.
took her 10 episodes to get what she wanted. So Lindsay, if you wanted to go over, first of all, I was hiding it from you guys. I'm trying to expand my watches, but I watched all of those for this episode. But Lindsay, you can go first and talk about both your movies real quick.
Okay, so first, before I jump into the movies, I'm going to talk about the novel that Frankenstein is based on, first of all. It was written by Mary Shelley. It was published in 1818. She was only 19 years old, and I think that this is the ultimate weird girl. Like, she basically invented science fiction in 1818 as a 19-year-old woman. Like, that's wild. But it's about a young scientist who is on the search for basically the secret to life. In the novel, it follows, his name is Victor Frankenstein, Victor Frankenstein. It really follows him through his whole life, whereas in the movie, it opens up, basically he's already digging up a corpse to Frankenstein together into a monster. So the movie gets going very quickly. The I have so many things that I could like dive into, but really I think as a whole, the appeal of Frankenstein for me is he's like a big toddler in a lot of ways. Like he's this monster that was created, but he is exactly what he was built to be. Like he doesn't understand his emotions. He doesn't have emotions other than just confusion and rage. So there's a lot of him being confused and just lashing out. Villagers are out to get him, obviously. Like they don't want this monster that was created to be around. And yeah, we lose him in the end, but not really if you watch the next one. But yeah, I think this the makeup, the lighting, absolutely everything about this movie is the perfect comfort movie for me. I think the knowing the facts of like the costume alone, that it weighed nearly 50 pounds and his shoes were 13 pounds and it was hot, it was summer. It was 4 hours of makeup every day. Like that's a lot of just stuff that you have to deal with on top of how physical the role was, because he didn't speak. He grunted and groaned and roared, but like it was a very physical role. And yeah, I don't know where to go from there, but
Okay. I want to talk about this movie before we get
okay.
into your next one. When I saw the opening credits for this, because I watched this over the watch, they had a question mark. No one
Yes.
knew that Boris Karloff was the monster,
Hmm.
which I want to know what the theatrical release poster was for this back in what year was it?
1931.
1931, because the poster we got now is of his face,
Yeah.
which I want to know, was it just a hand or what was it? Was it just the title?
That's a good question. I don't even know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think it's really cool that he was 44 years old. So like by Hollywood standards, like he was a very late bloomer, and like he
Yeah.
took on this role at 44.
I looked through his acting credits. How many acting credits do you think he has?
A lot.
He has over 300 acting credits. I looked on Letterboxd and had 0%. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, what do you mean 0%? And I'm like, oh fuck, it's 300 credits. I'm like, this dude acted a
Yeah.
lot.
What I love that they did in Frankenstein, and caveat to, and then spoiler, they do in other ones of the Universal monsters, especially with Karloff. They do the up close shots to his face, and it's just so
Hmm.
they'll do the up close shots to his face, and they'll have the shot, the lighting and everything, and it's like those up close shots to his face showing just the emotion of not only when with Frankenstein, it just with the shadows and
Yeah.
the lighting and just everything is so like iconic, that quick zoom in. And I like the fact that Frankenstein, you just see Frankenstein's monster as just the monster, but it's so much more in regards to what this character is representing. You know what I mean? It, like Lyndsey was saying, the townspeople don't like him just because he was so different. It has
Yeah.
that, they don't want to even get to know him. I was watching, and there's the little scene. Unfortunately, it gets a little tragic, but there's the little scene with the little girl by the lake.
Yeah.
The little girl sees him and just goes, "Hey, these are my flowers. These are yours. This,
Hmm.
this floats and this doesn't." And it made me feel like this just goes to show that hate is taught. This little
Yes.
girl sees this monster,
Hmm.
only just sees him, but the adults and the town people are like,
Yeah.
"No, this he's bad. He's not like
Yeah.
us. He's you know." And that also, and like I said, it unfortunately turns dark because he doesn't understand. Going back to him being basically a toddler, he thinks that everything just floats, and
Yeah.
then what happens. And then you get into this. It also shows a lot of like herd mentality type shit
Hmm.
within the movie, because none of those townspeople thought to just think about what happened. They just automatically blamed blamed the doctor, blamed the monster, and just pitchfork, fire, go. So there's just a lot more. It's crazy how it was done in 1931 with such layers of story and layers of social commentary within the
Yeah.
film. And that's radiated through this universal monster.
And I think when you mentioned that scene, I was going to mention that shows that there is a heart in there. Like within this monster, yes, his main emotions are confusion and rage, but like he's also learning to love. And I'll get into that when I get into the bride. But like, um, yeah, we see him sort of like bonding with this little girl, and then just again the confusion takes over because he just doesn't understand.
and and piggybacking, once it does happen, you could tell he's scared, and he realizes like that's not what
Frantic.
it's supposed to be.
Hmm.
And it's just like, what did I just do? So there's just the evolution of him, but nobody sees anything other than just a big brute. You
A
know what I mean?
monster. Hmm.
Yeah. And so it has a lot of levels that I love, and there's other things that I could go on about, but
Okay,
you know,
I want
Go
to
you
ahead.
can step in.
Dakota looks like he's about to bust.
okay,
He's he's
you guys
ready.
were talking about this. I already had this. Remember, the brain he has in his head is the criminal brain out of the two.
Yes.
Because first of all, is that the Hunchback of Notre Dame? Because that guy who worked with Frankenstein remind me of it. He had the Hunchback. He had everything. I'm like connected somehow. First of all, that's what I was thinking.
Igor.
And oh, is it Igor? Okay, that's Igor. Okay. Second, you could tell when this was shot in like actual land, and when this shit was, and when this was shot on a Universal Studio, and I could tell the part where they go to hunt Frankenstein. Look at the backdrop of the clouds. You could see the wrinkles in the paper of what it is. I'm like, oh,
That's
that's the
amazing.
backstop Drew Studio. It kind of threw me off
Oh,
though, because
fun fact.
I was focused on that though. I'm like, damn, I won't. I actually had a rewind. I'm like, I won't watch this. I'm like, it bothered me that this is the backdrop right now.
The test shoot for this movie or whatever you call it was actually shot on the um set for Dracula. But that
Oh,
footage is lost, like it doesn't exist. So, I think that would be so cool to see.
Yeah.
Because you can also tell because the sound, because of course we got the technology now that we could change the sound to sound like the same
Hmm.
thing, but you could tell if it was outside and inside because it was kind of like an echo. It seemed like inside
Hmm.
and compacted, but outside it seemed like it could just go straight out.
When I said I didn't know where to go earlier, it's because I have so many like random facts about this movie. Another fun fact about this movie is that it's the first one to use the castle thunder sound effect that's in
Yeah.
tons of movies. Like this was the first one. So like
Uh,
the big thunderclap.
and I feel like because this is the second monster movie, yeah. I feel like this is the one when they put live music into when they put the whole score into the movie, which
So amazing.
I will get
Yeah.
to one a little bit later on, which I don't know if you guys rewatch. I know Lindsay didn't want to rewatch this. I don't know if Goobs did, but I will explain to that. I kind of wish there was a score in this other certain movie. But
Okay.
Lindsay, if you want to get to the bride, you can
Okay,
get
The
onto that one.
Bride. The Bride actually, this movie was based on a very small part in the novel where, in the novel, Frankenstein's monster, who never has a name, by the way, he's just known by the monster or the creature, sometimes it. He was vocal, but in the novel, he spoke and he was very vocal about wanting a partner. And Dr. Frankenstein has like a failed creature that he tries to make. So this movie was based completely on that idea. And it takes place right after the first movie ends. We learn that he didn't die in the windmill fire. And he's sort of on a journey. He learns to speak. He's ready for love. He's ready for friendship. So, again, like I mentioned before, where we were seeing him sort of develop those emotions, we get to see more of that when he's like very vocal and he says that he's not alone. He wants to have a friend. He doesn't want to be alone. So, yeah, that's where I'll stop with that one. I think it came out in 1935, so 4 years later, 5 years later, and we get to meet the beautiful Elsa Lanchester, who is absolutely stunning and plays an amazing bride. Love it.
I have no thoughts on that one. I didn't watch that one
Okay, okay. I don't want to
Yeah.
say too much about it because I know you didn't watch it. So
before, but going through these movies, because I think I went through 8 of them. I'm thinking, what was the theater like back in
hmm
from the 30s to the 50s?
I
I'm
think
like,
that all the
Yeah.
time. Because
because
like
now
people got dressed up to go do things like that. So imagine going to get dressed up to see Frankenstein. Oh, that's like
Yeah.
dream come
because
true.
because technically we never have footage from that time. Like we got the footage from like 73 and like 78 when like people were going to see Halloween, The Exorcist, like the lines,
Mhm.
or like even Star Wars.
Yeah.
But it's like we don't know what the lines were for something like Frankenstein, Dracula, Creature of the Black Lagoon, Wolfman.
Yeah.
It was the interesting times because like now film is digital. They put it into a projector, they put it in a system pre-press play. This you actually had film, they actually pieced it together in the theater, which
Yeah.
was very interesting to see this
Imagine
experience that
editing
time.
that.
I was thinking that too.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
But Goobs, if you
Oh.
want to go next with your couple of movies you got.
Oh. Yeah. So I'll go with kind of the next one, and just kind of keep going with Karloff. I watched The Mummy from 1932. Now, we all know the classic story of a um, resurrected Egyptian mummy who comes back in the current time frame. And what is it, 3,000 years? He's
Hmm.
been uh, mummified. And he comes back because they unfortunately can't read the crest on the sarcophagus itself, and they open it up, and they re-invite this curse, which is the mummy, and he is swooned by this lady who he thinks is his lost love from back in his time, Anoxina Moon. And what I really enjoy about this one is that this plays on a lot of different, like, forbidden love and keeping what's in the past and respecting the past to not do, how am I trying to say it? Because when he comes in, he goes to basically, you are my reincarnation of my love. I'm going to have you, and I'm going to do what I need to do to have you, but you're ruining this person's future and present. So it's like, respect the past, but also don't mess with the future and the present.
Yeah.
And this also has a lot of different genre blending for such an older film. You have your love story where he's trying to reconnect with his long lost love, but then you throw in the horror elements along with some psychological horror. I mean, this dude is able to fucking just put his hand over his little pond and do what he wants to the people that he doesn't like. I mean, it's just so interesting and intricate how they were able to do this so long ago. You know what I mean? And the fact that you have another famous monster played by the same guy as Frankenstein, and of course they do the same close-up on his face in The Mummy. And fun fact, that makeup took 8 hours to do on Boris Karloff.
Crazy.
And so it just, as far as horror icons, after watching these films, Boris Karloff is now toward the top. Like, you can't mention horror without him, in my opinion now. So it was just a great, just all around experience.
Okay,
What did you think about this one, Dakota?
Okay, I'm gonna just I'm sorry, Lyndsey, I'm gonna just say this. First half of this, it kind of dragged a little bit.
It's okay.
The fucking nephew or grandson or whatever the fuck is the most stupidest character of all of these movies I watched. It literally says, "Do not open." We got open. And
That's what I'm saying.
And then he laughs himself to death. I'm thinking, first of all, how you laugh yourself to death? That's a new one. That's a new one.
What a way to go out.
But Boris Karloff, this dude's it. This dude is the it dude from back in
That's
the
my main.
30s and 40s. This, I kind of want, after watching this, I kind of want to see like what he just does in film. Period. Besides like horror. The face shots, I really like the face shots of Frankenstein, but this one was these face shots, like close-up face shots in this, was the piece of resistance to this movie. The only thing I didn't like is when in the scene of when he's going over and he gives the dad the heart attack.
Yeah.
How I've seen this bothered me a little bit because always in movies, if he's connected to the person like face to face, then that's when he does it.
Yeah.
Like with the person that he thinks that is his long lost love from when he was, before he was buried as a mummy, became immortal.
Yeah.
But just I'm gonna do a little bit of a spell through this, and I'm gonna try to give you 2 heart attacks. Yeah, I didn't get into that whatsoever.
Yeah.
But my favorite part of this movie was the flashback scene of when he's showing her like what happened to her and what happened to him. I really enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, I enjoyed this one for like I said, you get that genre blending where it's, and I feel like it has a lot of these movies have a lot of different genres within each
Yeah.
film. You know what I mean? And you have the current lady who, I forgot her character in the movie. You know, she's trying to just enjoy her life with her significant other, and then he comes in and then he shows her, no, you're actually who I say you are,
Hmm.
and you need to be with me, and then ends up, doing the whole curse thing that he's able to do with his powers
Yeah.
and stuff. And it just amazes me that they were able to do this with what they had, you know what I mean? And
Like we're
just,
nearing
it,
100 years ago with these.
yeah,
That's
exactly. And they, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the hell out of watching all these,
hmm
and just not comparing, but just going, wow, from where it came from to what we're at today, and just the practical uses of effects and makeup and sound and lighting and everything like that back then, because they didn't have nothing like we got now with digital and that sort of thing. Like Dakota was saying, that they were splicing and the film and
yeah.
doing everything like that. It's remarkable.
I think that makes it that much more impressive that like there was such a lack of technology and it was just all about like the creative process and like artistry in many different ways from lighting to makeup to, marrying all that stuff together. So
Yeah.
pretty
And
cool.
another thing,
Um, Dakota, Boris Karloff, have you ever watched the original How the Grinch Stole Christmas?
yeah.
He's the voice of the Grinch and the
Oh,
narrator.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. But another thing I want to say about this, and this is just for the time, which very interesting, which it didn't distract me. If you asked Dakota 10 years ago, it would distract him, and he would not like it. Is the film, the actual like film, like you know how you got the big expanse on
Oh,
your whole
Oh, like
thing
the,
with the bars.
yeah.
I like that. At first, I'm like, because of course with the movies I talk about, it didn't have that, but of course that was in the
yeah.
50s. But then I feel like there was some move for some of those movies at that time. It fit that style.
Yeah.
It's
It
but like
adds to the charm.
this Frankenstein, and the other two that I'm gonna be talking about later with my other three. They done it, and I really enjoyed that with that. And I think it helps where it's black and white. Also, if it was colored, it would not be that like Goobs. I don't know if you've seen it, but Snyder does this with his Justice League director's cut. He does this, and that's in color. And I didn't like that where it was in color like that. But now, if it like where this is black and white, it feels like it meshes together and makes a good
Yeah.
like film experience.
I was interested to see if you were going to like black and white because some people don't like old movies simply because of that. I'm not necessarily like a black and white exclusive girl, but I just happen to love old movies that happen to be black and white. That isn't something that I look for, but I think it's like you just said, it adds to it. It like
Yeah.
makes it more dramatic.
There is three films in
And,
this whole thing that I kind of wish were in color because of a certain reason.
Okay.
and and piggybacking off what you guys say about the black and white, I don't know if it's just because these are supposed to be scary monster movies, but I feel like black and white just fits those so well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My next movie is probably my favorite with the use of the black and white,
Hmm.
and so I'll jump into that if you
Yeah.
guys don't have
Yeah,
anything about.
let's get right into that one
We're
because I
ready. We're
got a lot
ready.
to talk about that one.
So the next one that I specifically chose and everything was The Wolfman from 1941. Now, this one, I guess I'll just kind of, so it follows our main character, Larry Talbot, who comes back to his father's who returns back to his father's estate. And he's kind of like, I guess the best way to talk about it, he's a handyman kind of thing. He fixes things. And he's fixing this old telescope within his dad's estate. And he's looking in town and he sees this woman in her bedroom. Not creepy at all. But ends up seeing her and becomes enamored with her. And so he goes to the shop, and it's like an antique shop. He goes in there and kind of tries to spit some game to her. And she's like, no, I'm not interested, yada, yada. And he's like, well, at least let me come back at 8 and, I'll walk you home, whatever. And he comes back to her. And while he's in the shop, he ends up buying an antique, a cane with a silver wolf head as the handle. And that is a big thing, obviously, throughout this movie. And with that, he meets back up with her, and they decide that they're going to get their fortune told by a gypsy, and one of her friends joins along. And they continue to walk there. And while they're at the gypsy, they kind of start explaining a little bit about the Wolfman curse, and that the Wolfman will always target or see his next victim with while showing a pentagram on their palm. And of course, when that happens, throughout the curse, it's like they have this uncontrollable desire that's what they're going to do. And I like this because this film has a lot of like subtlety and meanings that I've picked up on and that I really enjoyed. Like, it's the duality of human beings. We always want to be good and do the right thing, but there's also what happens if you do give in to your animalistic instincts and whatnot. And I mean, are we kind of spoiling the?
Yeah.
Because
these movies been out for a long time.
So what I really like about this, so they go to the actual gypsy, and the friend gets her. That's what he is. They go, and she's getting her fortune told, and he ends up seeing the pentagram on her hand. Turns out he is the actual werewolf. Actually, fun fact also, that is Boris Karloff. He makes an appearance in that as well.
Wait, what?
No, excuse me. Sorry. Bela Lugosi. My bad.
Okay. I was worried. I'm like, that's not Boris Karloff. That's the other dude.
No, my bad. It's the other. It is the other main monster from.
It's Dracula.
I was waiting for Dakota's reaction.
Which, you know what's weird? He plays, I think later on, he plays Frankenstein. Bela Lugosi, I think later on plays Frankenstein.
I'm not sure. But I just thought that was kind of cool that within this universe, you have kind of like piece here, and they're all kind of within this universe. But, and then he ends up attacking the lady, and Larry ends up fighting the werewolf, beats him with the silver head of the stick, ends up getting bit, obviously transferring the curse over to him. However, when the police go to the scene, they realize, no, this is a person. And so they go back to Larry and go, no, you didn't beat no werewolf. There was no werewolf. It was a human being. So you get this like morality thing. Like, he thinks that he's actually killed a human being, and he thought he killed a wolf, and people are saying, no, you killed a human. And so he's grappling with these, am I crazy? Are they telling truth? And it's just like this battle within his own head of his own mental, I don't want to say mental illness, but they kind of say throughout the movie, like, hey, your son's actually kind of crazy. There's no such thing as a werewolf. We need to put him in a in a hospital basically until he gets better. And then the ending of this film crushed me, because at the end of this film, you have Larry finally coming kind of to terms with himself, like, okay, I am a monster and I need to get away from the people that I love so I don't hurt them, because he ends up seeing the pentagram on his, you know, lady's hand, and he wants to get away from her. However, the townsfolk go to hunt him, and she ends up in the woods for whatever reason. You know, she's looking for Larry, but she doesn't know that he's already turned into the wolf man, and his uncontrollable urges attacks her and goes to attack her. But Larry's dad goes in the woods with his stick, with Larry's stick with the silver head, and ends up beating the wolf man to death. And as he slowly turns, it shows that it's actually Larry. So you get like this full circle, like the only people that know who the wolf man really was, his dad and the girlfriend, if you want to call her that, and everybody else in the town thinks that he died a hero when he was actually really the villain. So this was my favorite movie of this whole watch, was this one, because there's so many elements. And this one uses the shadows in the fog machine in the woods so fucking perfect.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Sorry,
I think those are very iconic fog scenes. Like, to me, when I think of like a woodsy fog scene, it's that.
Yeah.
So, for me, I think it's like the first 7 minutes of this one. I couldn't get into the first 7 minutes. After that, it's the thing of him getting Bruce back, like, to the town, him looking through the telescope. Once he gets the cane, I was locked in. I knew this was going to start getting good. The wood scenes of after he's turned to the wolf man, and like you said, the fog, the shadows of the part of when he's looking at her and she's looking at him, the camera shot of her back of her head looking at him, scary as fuck. If I saw that dude in the middle of the night in the woods, oh hell no. And from this and the Wolfman that we just got, there's something that I kind of like about this. So when the gypsy turns into the werewolf, it's actually just a wolf. It's not a werewolf like in the Blumhouse one. Where in this one, it's just a wolf, and then he turns into the werewolf.
Yeah.
Which is kind of saying, like, I think he was born with a curse. This gypsy was the whole entire time, while this Tolbert, it's his name, his last name. While Tolbert is got this curse from this gypsy guy.
Yeah.
But this movie's good. I love this movie.
Yeah, like I said, I was gonna start out with going in with the first thing that I noticed, that what really got me to love this film is that first initial shot of them walking to the gypsy and being in the fog and it's just like you have these like deep blacks and these like perfect bright whites, and it just turns into this gray hue, and with the fog rolling, you don't see that type of shit in movies today. I mean, except for Robert Eggers, cinematographer, that guy. But you don't get a lot of these like type of beautiful cinematography shots of real things. A lot of it's a lot of digital things.
Yeah.
But it just blew me away. And like I said, the fact of, forbidden love and not wanting to go off of your animal instincts and that sort of thing. It just such a great, it was perfect. I fucking loved it. And like I said, the ending crushed me.
Yeah, that ending.
I mean, you get the dad who literally killed his son,
Yeah.
And I mean,
And the cops think it's
not
just
thought he was a hero.
yeah. The cops thought he was a hero, where the father is sitting there knowing that I just literally killed my son, and you can
Yeah.
see on his
But
face.
does that make him not a hero though?
Not to
No, I
himself.
mean,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
obviously that's an internal struggle there, but like was still a hero. He just had to do
yeah,
something awful.
Because it's like ironic because he gave his son shit for thinking that he killed somebody, right? Where
yeah,
later on, he's the person that's sitting right in that same place that he had to kill his son, and he has to live for the rest of his life knowing that he actually killed his son, even though he was the Wolfman.
yeah. It, yeah. These movies were, I don't want to say ahead of their time because obviously it was the time, but like you look back and it goes, they did so much with what they had, and it just continuously watching these movies just impressed me. And I mean, from Frankenstein at 1931 to Wolfman in 1942, just that 10-year span, you can just tell. I don't want to say improvements because they're both great movies, but you
Yeah.
could just tell just the way that it just progresses as far as how it's shot and those type of things, sound design. It just,
The atmosphere is like always phenomenal. Like it's
yes.
just you feel these movies. I think that I get I get great comfort in watching them, so I get like a comfortable feeling, but like there's the gothic romance aspect, there's the creepy aspect, there's just it's a fucking monster, so that's terrifying. Um,
Right.
there's a lot going on.
So this is what I'm gonna say. I think this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna agree with Goops a little bit and disagree with you. I think this shows the expanding of cinema in 11 years, as just as a whole of cinema. I think it also shows, and it's still doing this day, how good horror gets over the years.
Yeah.
Not only the filmmaking, but the look of it, the cinematography. Because going from technically, this is 1941, right?
Hmm.
That 41. I'm thinking of another movie that just came out last year. If you do that's 59. Oh, I think it's 83 years. Yeah, it's 83 years to the day from this movie to this movie. And the movie I'm talking about is Nosferatu. When you talked about Eggers and the colors, 83
Yeah.
years, and you can see the upgrades, but it
Yeah.
reminds you of the same thing.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you specifically the crossroads in Nosferatu. The crossroads scene of when Nicholas Holt's
With the
staying in the middle of the
chariot.
road. Yes, in the middle of the road and the
Yep.
chariot's coming. It
Hmm.
reminded me a lot of this.
Yeah. And it, I 100% agree with you. That's what the first thing that popped into my head with watching Wolfman was like, damn, this is like, I hate that I can't remember the cinematographer's name, but he does it on all of Robert Eggers' films. And he is just perfection. And like I said, because how you see just like the bright whites and the deep blacks with Wolfman and with the fog, with expanding on Dakota, with you see how it kind of continues to go now 80 something years. Now you take those blacks and those blues, or those blacks and those whites, and now it hues up to a lighter shade of blue throughout the film, and
Yeah.
like the shots, and it just it it's filmmaking at its true core, that, you know what I mean, these ones. So
I think it's going to be interesting for Dakota now that because it's interesting for me now that I watch newer movies and I connect them back to, the classics. Now I'm anxious to see you seeing those old movies in new movies that you watch. Like, oh, this is where this was inspired by that, because there's a lot of that you'll notice now.
One movie I'm looking forward to. I don't kind of want to see what he does with it. And this is Eggers that we're talking about, and it's his werewolf movie. I want to know,
yeah,
is he going to go off the Wolfman story, the original, and he's not calling the Wolfman, because the fog, the everything that we're talking about. I want to
Hmm.
see how he does with his cinematography for not being black and white. Hell, he might do black and white because he don't the
I know.
lighthouse.
Yeah,
So it's just
he
I
could.
want to see because that'll be what 80. That was 83.
Full.
That'll be 85 years from the original Wolfman till his werewolf movie comes out.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Yeah.
So let's get into my 3, which I am going to talk about. I'm going to go into the first one. So my first movie is The Creature of the Black Lagoon. Going before the Scoops, you want to show off your little item real quick?
He is one of the best original Universal monsters for sure. This is one of my favorite pops.
First of
Had
all,
to show him off for the episode.
I'm just going to say this is the best design out of all the original monsters. Before watching any of them, this is why this is my favorite creature before going into this, because I like the design. He looks badass. It's just everything. I think when you look at a older scary monster, this is what will give you nightmares. Now, going into the movie, my first ever black and white in a long time, especially for like a horror, and this one I really enjoyed. There was I forgot there was some things that I got wrong that I didn't like in this, but I liked a lot. The creature design, I love the creature design in this. The acting of the creature was absolutely outstanding, especially when out of the water, the gills, the breathing, perfect. There was two directors connected to this, one for land, one for water. The water shots in this for black and even though it's black and white, James Cameron could turn this thing into a. This is probably James Cameron inspiration for Avatar. The water shots, the creature in the water.
Yeah.
You can say some groups if you want to say something real quick.
Oh, just the simplest things as the bubbles in the water. You know what I mean? Just like as silly as it sounds, like when you're watching it, just like the simplest thing is just the bubbles coming, not from. I mean, obviously looking down when they're on the boat and stuff, they see the bubbles coming up, or even you just know that something's there, and you until you see it, you're just like, what is actually down there? And then and then when they're under the water and you see those, just whether it's the bubbles coming up or the seaweed or just Dakota hit it on the head. The freaking underwater shots are so good.
And this was in 1955.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
This was 54 years before Cameron made Avatar. Just think it's the thing of what Lyndsey said, looking back and forward.
That's exactly what I meant.
How many of these directors think of Cameron? Cameron's like one of those directors that everyone thinks of, especially for his Avatar movies. How much inspiration did he actually get from this?
I mean, I'm obviously making this up, but like he very well could have like grown up watching that movie and like, drawn inspiration. Like that's how things happen.
This one, I think I agree with Dakota as far as like the creature design itself. It's just so iconic, and I don't know if this is a fun fact or not, or if it's just whatever. But the movie itself was created off of South American myths of human fish people hybrids.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I think it's cool that they brought and that's why this one is based when they're in the Amazon, and it has that flair to it with Latin America cinema and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool that it's through that narrative. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
And to come up with that design, and there's I didn't know there was two directors within the the underwater and above. I knew there was two actors though. The underwater was Recon Browning, and the above water was Campton, or yeah, Chapman. Sorry, I didn't know that there was. So that's even crazier that they basically were shooting two different movies with two different people to make one.
I
That's
only
cool.
learned that recently, but it makes sense. Like one of them probably had to be like scuba certified or something, you know? Like he had to
Yeah,
be a good hold his breather.
The one thing I love about this and Jaws. This reminds me of Jaws. You know how in Jaws
Water.
they don't show the monster till mostly halfway through the movie.
mm-hmm.
This does this. The Wolfman. I looked at Wolfman. It's like the last 25 minutes of Wolfman. And
Yeah,
Frankenstein. It's like halfway through Frankenstein. They don't show the monster. It makes
yeah,
you. I think that's why a lot of people don't like these movies these days, because a lot of people are waiting for that monster, waiting for that creature right there. I think that's what bothered everybody a little bit with Nosferatu,
yeah,
is that they didn't show Skarsgård in the promotion. They didn't show him right off. They held us for, I think it was like 30 minutes in the movie until we
yeah.
got Orlok's thing, and I think
Just a
that's
glimpse.
what Eggers. I think Eggers loves, like he loves the story of Nosferatu, but I bet you he loves these monster movies. I bet you like
Oh
even
yeah,
I think he's like in his late 20s, early 30s, but I bet you he watched these when he was younger, so he takes that inspiration from these.
yeah.
And
He's definitely a period piece guy for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. I think he said that the thought of making something that a cell phone was in the shot like made him violently ill. So
Yeah,
but I just love this movie. I don't want to get into it because we go into this movie for the creatures. I kind of don't care about the humans that much. I kind of go in this for the creature of the
yeah,
Black
that's the
Lagoon.
point.
I
But
I
besides,
wanted to ask you a question, Dakota, when you get a chance.
yeah, you're getting through
So,
Do it.
already.
all right. So, I think so. When I literally watched it before we got on, so it's fresh in my memory. I feel like over the ones that I've watched, this score is probably one of the best throughout these films because from underwater to up at the above water, like when you see like even when uh, she's standing on the edge of the river, when you see the hand come up and that fucking score hits and you're just like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
it just hits you in the back of your spine and it just gives you the little hairs stick up because that punch of the score. What did you think of the score added with what was your opinion or your thought?
I think this is the best score. I think it matched well with okay, this movie out of all three of them, I think this one's the best with the score. The hand reaching, I
The
Yeah,
most
really enjoy it.
dramatic. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's the word. That's the word. Yeah.
yeah, I
And I
think
think
that's
it
how,
fit and
especially the water shots.
going back to you, Dakota, what did Spielberg do with Jaws? It was the score, it was the soundtrack
Yes.
of it not
Very
showing
important.
anything, but just and I think and I don't know how this is going to come off, but I think the scariest part of when movies aren't showing the monsters right away, the scariest thing is our own brains
The build
because
up.
we are building something up and it just you're putting that out there and I think that's why Jaws affected so many people
Hmm.
because it just you're thinking dark ocean water, something's there, the sound is creeping up on you, what is happening, and you're just instantly getting into anxiety mode. And I think Dakota, did you feel like that's how they set it up, or do you think that's kind of how it was set up within the creature?
Yeah, I think a lot of horror movies take inspiration off this, especially in the 70s. Jaws did it. Halloween does it a lot. Carpenter loves to use that score of Michael, even though
Yeah,
we don't see Michael's face, like him walking around. loves to use it. And I think it started with. I think the others done it well, but I think it really started with this.
Like I said, I think it's the best score of the monster movies that I've watched. As far as the how it is implemented with the shots on the screen, like when it's almost damn near iconic,
True.
you know.
So for the second movie, it's the Revenge of the Creature. So this one, I would say it's in the middle, just in the middle for me. I'm not. I'm not gonna say the word mid. I don't want to consider it mid. It's just the middle. I give it 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
I don't like them going out of the Amazon. I really don't fucking like that shit into the public, into down Florida. The score, when the score sometimes it's used horrible in this. There's a spot where he's just like knocked out, just laying there, and the score comes on. I'm like, dude, I don't need a fucking score. He's just laying there.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because the same director, the one that did the land part, directed this one, and he done everything. He done the water, he done the land. So I don't know if it was. I think this series, and I would even say in the third one, this series was enough for one movie, and that was it.
Yeah.
And especially the bottom of like the first one when he's like going down, you think he's dead. How the fuck did he come back? That's the question. You get that little marker out there of like you don't know how he's back.
Yeah.
I think these humans are unbearable in this one. I think as you go along, these humans get worse.
Yeah.
In this.
Yeah.
I like the creature. Creature design. The first half of this creature design, this first half fucking sucks. Oh my god.
Punching his mic.
This dude, you know how you had the little like snake eyes in like the original costume? This one got that big old like beady eyes over here looking like some headlights. Didn't like that whatsoever. It kind of reversed that in the beginning, like the last half. It kind of felt like it wanted to go back to the original costume, and it kind of did. But besides that, so let's get into this third movie. This third movie fucking sucked. I'm gonna say it fucking sucks so bad.
Here it is.
They took the creature and they made it a joke. They turned it from this land and water monster and turned it into this land. They want to turn to a land monster. I felt like this was a Hellraiser movie because you know how they said later Hellraisers, they have a script and they put Hellraiser into it or Pinhead into it. It felt like they had a different script for this and they put the creature into it. The Universal had a different movie. It was like this movie goes through everything. It goes to a lore story, to a story about abuse, and I don't see that in none of these movies I watched.
Yeah. I could see that.
And it felt like it so much. They just be like that. And the creature's design, I didn't like the land. Him going from his concept of him changing his appearance when he actually breathes from his lungs. What the fuck do you mean it changes? It changes. It should stay the same. You just want to make it look cool, and it was not cool.
Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say about this movie because I got two others I really want to talk about.
Okay.
I'm gonna do the one I thought was okay to the one I really enjoyed. So the one I thought was just okay was Dracula. This is the first movie. This is what I didn't like. First of all, I don't know if this was the actual story of Bram Stoker's because I don't know if it is because Nosferatu and Bram Stoker's directed by Francis Ford Coppola. John Heder, which is Francis Ford Coppola's, and Thomas, I forgot his last name in Nosferatu, they go see the court count. And this one, Renfield goes sees the count. There's no John doesn't meet Count till he gets to England. And I didn't like that whatsoever. First of all, the score. When I say the score is used in the intro. There's no score through the rest of this movie. And that bothered me because there's some parts in this that should have a score, and you're just sitting there, and it's just silent. And I'm like, I'm into the first 20 minutes of this of when because I'm thinking it's John Heder. Am I getting that right, Lindsay? Is his name Heder or Herder?
Mm, I'm gonna look it up because I don't want to say it wrong either.
But I thought that's who this guy was at the beginning. But then I find out it's Renfield. I'm like, what the fuck you mean it's Renfield? Um, the set of them going to the castle for Count, I want to know if that's like a painted or if that was actually a set or if they actually did went to somewhere with a castle because it reminds me because that's why I was doing like I didn't put this down because I didn't know if that was a actual on set thing, if it was a picture, or if it was actually in like they actually went to a place and like was dry like going there. So I didn't like think of that. So I didn't put that like up or down for that. The bats, you could got some real bats for this. I think you could actually get some real bats. This little dun 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 dun. I didn't like that whatsoever. The noises were cool, and because they use every other animals. They use the things that Lindsay don't like in this. There's actually real bat. There's a real possum in this, but the bats you just don't want to have real bats in this. Um,
I feel like bats would be harder to work with.
Probably back in the 30s. And
Yeah.
another thing I will go with, which I didn't mention, Frankenstein. You could had stunt people for this. I know because it's this. I kind of do watch the beginning of Bride, just like the first 7 minutes, but I had to go do something. I'm like, I'm not restarting this whole thing. I can watch this later.
Hmm.
When they throw, like in the Frankenstein, when they throw Frankenstein off the building, when the monster does, and you can see it's a dummy. It just said so you can just see it's like a dummy, like a pillar thing. I'm like, you could have like some stunt people to do this because I think they had stunt people back in like the 30s and 40s.
I'm sure they had stunt people, but there are limits to things. Like we're talking budgets. We're talking, like maybe that wasn't in the budget to hire another actor.
Yeah.
True, but
Okay, what were you asking me earlier, John Heder?
he has a header or
That's Napoleon Dynamite.
huh?
John Heder is Napoleon Dynamite.
No, the character of John in the boyfriend. What's the boyfriend's name? Not the actor, the actual character's name.
In Dracula?
Yeah, the one who Keanu Reeves plays in Dracula. Because it's the same character in this one and Francis Ford Coppola's.
I'm confused. So just
Let's see.
Who's gonna find it first, Scoops or Lindsay? We're gonna have a race spike and keep on going.
Harker.
Jonathan Harker.
Oh, it's a Harker.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I know what I was not following what you were saying at all.
No, you get what I'm saying. In this one, it's
John Heder is Napoleon Dynamite.
I didn't know that. But you get what I'm saying because this one has Renfield. The others, like Nosferatu, and that had the husband or fiance going to the count to make the deal, which I didn't understand that. But what I really enjoyed in this is who's the actor who plays Dracula? He played the genie.
Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi, phenomenal acting in this. His acting as Dracula, the accent, but the camera shot. If you want to talk about the camera shot, Goobs, the camera shot on his face and his eyes, light in his eyes, perfect.
Yeah, iconic even.
Yes, but
Literally.
let's go into the movie I really enjoyed, and that's The Invisible Man. I love this movie. When going to this movie, I was thinking I didn't know a lot about Invisible Man. I knew about the 2021 with I think it's Elizabeth Moss.
Yeah.
But I did not know a lot about the story because I knew that story 2020, not 2022, but 2020 was a lot different than the original. But watching this and watching a dude who goes psycho because he wants to just shoot some chemicals into his body to make himself invisible. And the shit that he does in this, holy shit. He kills people. The train. He literally takes the train off the rails. I'm like, holy shit, he just killed everybody on the train. I'm like,
A
what the
violent
fuck?
rampage.
He does go on the fire rampage. He's like, then this is the scariest thing when he tells the guy that he wants to be his partner. Oh, I'm gonna come back to your house tomorrow. Just kill you at 10 o'clock. He tells him the time. I'm like, what the fuck, bro? Then it gets me by the end of the movie because the whole entire movie is that he goes crazy. He puts this of stuff into his body. He goes crazy. He goes off, tries to fix it. The townspeople don't like him, so he comes back, makes a partnership with this guy which he worked with before. His wife is going mad at the time because he hasn't came back, and then there's like a whole manhunt on him because he just like wants to start killing people at this point, and he wants to get away. He puts a Pacific. I want to kill a person. He's like me. You're gonna kill people. I want to do the training. When he does the training, I'm like, damn brutal, but damn, you got your job done that you wanted to. Probably like that really fucked up. If you want to talk about a fucked up movie from the 30s or 40s, this is the fucked up movie of that time.
1933.
Yeah, this is 1933. If you want to talk about fucked up movie for 1933, this is one that you need to watch. But I just love this as a whole. I didn't know the actor in this played the dad in The Wolfman.
No, I didn't
That's
know
who
that
plays
either.
the Invisible Man. I thought it was a younger actor, and when I looked up the filmography, and I'm like, holy crap, he plays the dad in Wolfman. I'm like, holy crap, this is really good. And you see that a lot in these movies, that a lot of these characters and actors are in these movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think that's interesting because, like, nowadays you wouldn't see the same actor play multiple superheroes. Like, to have the same actor play multiple different monsters, it's kind of.
Yeah.
and I like the comedic tone. There's some comedic tone in this. I really enjoyed that. The ending was very sad. This is the movie I think I was locked into the most. There were some
Interesting.
movies I was like coming in and out of it, like, oh, this is cool, but this is not cool. But this is the one that was consistent. This and Wolfman was the ones that were most consistent with me. But th- this is a really good one.
The Invisible Man, Frankenstein, and Bride of Frankenstein were all directed by the same guy, James Whale.
What did James Bowles direct? I thought he directed something else. Who directed them? Creature? Did he not do Creature of the Black Lagoon?
I don't believe so.
Who doing Creature? No, that's Jack Arnold.
I was going to say, I could be wrong, but I don't believe so.
And I always heard of Tom Brown being legendary. Not Todd Browning be a legendary director. I thought a legendary director in like the 70s or 80s. No, he directed Dracula. I'm like, oh damn, it goes all the way back.
Wild.
But I think is that about it for you guys talking about these monster movies? So,
I think so.
Goobs,
Yeah.
you missed one. What
What?
about Abbott Costello?
Oh, these ones. Okay, we won't go too far into it, but if you start watching the Universal monsters and you want the same feeling of a Universal monster, but you want some comedy, you got to check out the Abbott and Costello Meets the Monsters. So I picked up a 4-pack DVD set, and it has Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein, The Mummy, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and The Invisible Man. So I've seen 2 of them. Where they meet Frankenstein and they meet the Mummy. Now, fun fact: the Mummy is actually the last Abbott and Costello movie that Universal or Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters. That was the last one that Universal did. But it just brings another element to these stories. They're so funny. If you love or if you enjoy the Three Stooges type
Yes.
comedy, where, it's just, let's be honest, it's two bumbling idiots getting themselves into situations that with any other person would be horrible, but for whatever reason, they always make it funny and they always make it out. And so this one that I watched just recently is where they meet the mummy and they end up stealing an ancient artifact that is going to um, help lead to the treasure of the mummy and this hidden treasure. Well, the type of comedy it is, one of them accidentally swallows it. So they're being
course they
chased
do.
by this other group of people, and they're like, "Where is it?" And he's like, "Well, I swallowed it. I don't know what to tell you," kind of thing. And it's just Abbott and Costello, and they do other things other than just Meet the Monsters. They have other catalogs that I'm not too familiar with, but the Meet the Monsters are absolutely worth your time, and they are just great. So Frankenstein is probably my favorite, but I haven't seen the other two, so those are definitely on the list now that I have them. But just fantastic.
This is usually a lie when we say it, but it's truly great family fun. Like,
Yeah, these ones. Yeah, that's a great segue. Yeah, if you want like a intro to classic movie monsters with kids that will keep them entertained, this
Yeah.
is ones to do so because
they're
you
funny.
have the comedic tones, and like I said, I grew up watching the Three Stooges real late at night. It came on always at like 3 o'clock in the morning
Me too.
when
Yeah.
you should already be asleep. But I would stay up and I would watch it, laugh my ass off, and then go to bed. It gives you that same type of feeling with these ones. And throw in a little Universal Monsters doesn't hurt anything either.
Exactly.
So, Goobs talked about buying his set. So I bought a set also. So this is my set. I bought the whole entire classic Universal Monsters. This is all 30 films. They're on Blu-ray. So what's specific about this one, guys, is when you look on Amazon, like Prime Video, Vudu, Apple, you only get Creature of the Black Lagoon and Revenge of the Creature to buy or to rent. You don't get Creature Walks Among Us. I know that's bad, but if you guys want to watch these, this is the box set you guys need to get. This comes with 30 of the movies. You got Dracula, Frankenstein, Invisible Man, The Mummy, Phantom of the Opera from 1943 it is. The Creature set, the Wolfman set, and it also comes with a little book and facts about it.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Yeah.
this one, I bought this one on Prime Video, not Prime Video. I bought this on Amazon Prime. So if you guys want this, definitely go get that. But
When Dakota texted me the picture of it, I screamed out loud. I was so excited for you.
oh, I'm excited because you know how I told you guys I ordered that last week after we recorded our episode. It was less than 24 hours. I got this.
I know. When you texted it to me, I was like, yes, already.
So if you guys got a Prime membership and you can get next day delivery, definitely get this next day because it was actually really good to have this.
So cool.
But two more things before we close out the episode. One, after watching Dracula, it made me want to rewatch not only Nosferatu, Robert Eggers' Nosferatu, it makes me want to rewatch Bram Stoker's Dracula right now. Especially having a whole entire story. I think it's good. I haven't actually listened to the soundtrack after watching Dracula. Just the Bram Stoker's. I've been just listening to that over. And two, I got a little challenge for myself. So right now it's April 1st.
Oh God, Dakota's challenging himself.
We got a whole entire month. I told you guys I'm gonna watch more movies. And how we're gonna do that is I'm gonna keep on watching. I'm gonna get 100 in this month. I am gonna get one. I got
Dakota, how about we just shoot for one a day?
Oh, I know. I am going full in.
Okay.
I put in 5 yesterday.
Yeah, on Saturday, I think I watched like 8 movies. Like I just watched movies all day.
Which, especially with these podcast episodes, we got a lot coming, like up
Yeah.
episodes, and we're gonna have a bunch of topics so I can get through a whole bunch. So 100 is the goal for April. You hear that, everyone. You hear that, Lindsay Goops. You hear that, Colby, Ian, whoever is also listening to this.
Dakota, I want to put it into perspective for you. It's now April 1st, and I think I'm just now hitting 100 for the year. So, huh? But let's
Oh,
go.
I can get
Do
in.
it.
But I think that is it. So, Lindsay, if you want to close this out.
As always, we thank you for listening. Please click all of our buttons. Please buy a plushie this week. We we love you. We love that you come back if you are returning. If you're new here, thank you for listening this far into the episode. Like I mentioned before, this is one that I've been wanting to make since the beginning, and it was amazing. So thank you guys for being here with me. We love you. I love you guys, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
And before we get off, go check out this week's House of Ghouls podcast episode
Yes.
because Goobs is on the episode with Ian and Colby. So
Yeah.
definitely go listen to it. But guys, with that being said, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.